Welcome to District 7670's webinar on foundation reports and on entering your foundation goals. The process is very similar for all the other goals such as membership and service, but I'm only going to show foundation today. Notice that I have up on my screen Rotary.org and I have not logged in. I'm going to be logging in today as my club president because I want you to see what you will normally see and not some strange things that I would see. So from Rotary.org, I'm going to sign in and register down here at the bottom, or you could sign in and register at the top. And it loads your information, and if you check the Remember Me, it will have your information in there. And I'm going to take mine out and put Rachel's in, if I spell it correctly. But if you put your information in and tell it to Remember Me, every time you come, this will already be entered for you. I'm going to take the Remember Me because I don't want to remember Rachel's information. Okay, and then you simply click sign in. Now, if you have never signed in before, or if we click this and it says it doesn't recognize you, then you would click on Create Account. Come on. I'm never real sure it's working for me. There it goes. Okay, this is what it looks like once you have signed in. To access the foundation reports, you look across the top here, and when you scroll across the top, you notice that there are lots of options available to you at each one, but we're going to go all the way over to Rotary Foundation, and then you simply click on Foundation Reports. My computer or my router must be going a little bit slower. Now here it says Foundation Reports and Donor History Report, and it looks like Rachel has not signed in as a president-elect yet, so we'll have to go back and sign in as me. But this contribution and recognitions, a regular member would be able to come in and see their donor history, and I'm not going to click on it because that's rather private information. But let's log out then as Rachel, and I'll sign in as me. Come on. I noticed that Sean Gibson is on this call. If he would send me his sign-in information, I could sign in as him. I'll be looking at my email to see if he sends me his sign-in information. So now we're signed in as me. Whoops. We're not signed in as anybody yet. The reports that you're able to access as a president-elect or as an assistant governor are very similar. Let's sign in here. You should be able to see your club's total giving, your club members giving and how many points they have, and your club's E-Ray information. Okay? So now we're going to the Rotary Foundation, and the blue box should appear, and we go to, this is just really interesting. There we go, Foundation Reports. And you might be able to see that I have signed in with Mozilla, and you can use Google Chrome or Mozilla, but regular Google will not pull up Foundation reports. Now I'm here at Foundation reports, but you notice that none of these look like something that you need. So we're going to scroll down to the bottom, and we go to contributions and recognitions, and there are all kinds of things that you can see. All of these on the district level are not things that you would be able to see, but at the club level you would be able to see your club fundraising analysis, and you'd be able to see at the club level, your major donors, your bequest society, and your monthly contribution report. So I'm going to click on my monthly contribution report so you can see, and this is rather privileged information, so I'm not going to stay on it very long, but I want you to realize that you can get in there and look at who is a Paul Harris Fellow, who is very close to being a Paul Harris Fellow. I was speaking with Sam Hyde of Waynesville, and we realized that he is 10 members away from being an all Paul Harris Fellow club, and I'm hoping that he will follow up on that. Now, it doesn't take you right to the report. It takes you to this next screen, and we click on Club Recognition Summary. Notice that you can find out who's a benefactor, and here's that all-important E-Ray eligibility. But we're just going to open one today for time's purposes, and it typically has another screen that you will have to manipulate in order to get in. It wants to know what year you're looking at. So you may, in fact, go back and look at another year, or perhaps the beginning of the year. So you can see somebody's giving at the beginning of the year if your foundation chair wants to know where they started. Here's the Rotary Club of Franklin Daybreak. Let me make sure I just have Franklin Daybreak here. And notice at the top, I could even look at all members. And that's deceased members, members that have quit the club, and spouses, if some of your spouses are members. But I'm going to leave it on club members and scroll down. You can only view one page from this web view, but you could click on this button down at the bottom to go to the next page. My club is relatively small, and we're almost all on one page. But in order to print this, you would simply come up to the top by the printer, and when you hover over the printer, you can click on print, and it's going to export it to PDF. And I'm going to tell it to open with PDF so that you can see it and you can print it. So here we are. Now we can see the whole report, and there's 4 pages, but we'll just look at what's available on the first page. Notice that Franklin Daybreak Rotary has got some recognition points, and it has a contribution, and that GG flow-through is a global grant. We donated about $1,000 to a global grant this year as a club, and so the club actually has points. Notice we have a new member that is just starting out with their points, so you can see all of the information here. This is their Rotary ID, so if you ever have to talk to Rotary Club Central, they'll ask you what their Rotary ID is, and this is how much money they've given and their current Paul Harris Fellow level. And you can see we have some brand new members that are not Paul Harris Fellows, but we're going to get that fixed right away. Here's their recognition points, and that's a topic for another webinar, how to use those points. And you can see that whether they're a benefactor or not, and I hear lots of foundation chairs say, I don't know if these members are giving through Rotary Direct, and I don't know how much. Well, you can come over here to the last column, and you can see that some of our members are Rotary Direct members. And that means they give reoccurring online. They put their credit card in, and it debits their credit card however often they have asked it to. You can do once a month, you can do quarterly, you can do yearly, and you can choose the time. But that's how you check out your reports, and there's lots of reports there, but I don't want to spend too much time on that. I'm going to go ahead and close that out, and when you close, you can print this PDF at this time, and that makes it really nice. And I'm going to close it, and it gives you back to the web page. And when you tell it to close that web page, let's see if I can, I've got this bar in the way. It asks you if you indeed want to leave the page, and it takes you back to this contribution report, and then you could pull another report. This is the club fundraising analysis that I gave you at PETS, and then E-Ray lets you know who has given something and who has given $100. So I'm going to get out of that altogether, and that takes me back to my foundation reports. I'm going to scroll back up to the top, and I'm going to come over here to My Rotary. Let me find where, whoops. Okay, My Rotary is normally where the page that it opens when you immediately log in, and you will go down to Rotary Club Central, and you have to scroll all the way to the bottom, and there's Rotary Club Central, and you'll want to view goals. Notice it doesn't say enter goals, which is kind of strange to me, so you click on view goals. Now this is going to open up a similar screen to what you will see, but I have access to all the clubs in the district. Assistant governors, you will have access to the clubs that you're assigned, and that's because I have put them in on Rotary Club Central, and club presidents will just be able to see their clubs. The people that can see this, I have sent all the president-elects up there, so hopefully they will enter you as club president-elects, and I'll check with Marty to make sure that is true for all of you. Notice my club is Franklin Daybreak, so it is here. AGs, you would be able to see just the list of your clubs in this, and those of you that are president-elects will only see your club. And notice it has your club, service, and foundation giving. There are lots of different things that you can see from this page. This is the club view. You can see a global view, and you can see lots of other things on the left, and there are also reports that you can generate. But today we were just going to talk about foundation goals, because your foundation goals and your membership goals are requested to be in by May 1st. This Your Club is where you would put your membership goals. So it shows your membership trends. This is my club, of course, and how many and how well we're doing this year, our breakdown by male and female, and so forth. But let's go over to the foundation giving. So it's a tab, and it will show us what Rotary has, the Rotary Foundation has for us as Franklin Daybreak. And it's particularly slow, and I guess it's because I have both the webinar and Rotary Club Central running through my router today. But as this connects, we will be able to see how well Franklin Daybreak is doing this year in the foundation, and we can see past history as well. So as you're putting your goals in, you'll be able to see your trends. So here we go with foundation giving, and this shows the trends of Franklin Daybreak. This is the year after I was president, so it says that we gave $13,000, almost $14,000 that year. So you can see we have consistently been pretty good givers, considering that we're a 39-member club. Notice that this year says 14-15, so the information I'm looking at is for this Rotary year. When you go to enter your goals, you will change the date by using the drop box. And I'm going to click on, oh, that's for your annual trends. If you want to see trends, you can only see back to your trends. But I'm going to go down here and do the same thing. And here's our annual fund goals for this year. See, I'm in 14-15, and I'm going to click on 15-16 so that we can see what's available for us in 15-16. Now yours should not be this slow unless you have a connection problem, or if you wait until June 30th when the whole world is trying to get in there, or of course the day before May 1st will be very heavy because lots of people are trying to get in at that time, and so you have 500 and some odd districts with 50 clubs in each district, and each club president-elect is trying to get in, so it tends to be a little slow. I'm going to turn off my email, and maybe that will enable this to go just a tiny bit faster. When we get to our club goals, I want you to think about your club members as all being on a bus. This is only true for foundation. Membership and service don't think this way, but for the foundation, I want you to think of all people in your club being on a bus. And then you're going to ask yourself some questions as you deal farther along. And this is really slow, I apologize. Okay, so here we are at Foundation Giving, and we're at the tab 1415, and notice there is no goal. So I'm going to click on the edit button and hope that it doesn't take forever to open the edit. If you're in 15-16 and don't see an edit button, that's because Rotary.org does not know you're a president-elect, and I will make sure with Mari today that you are all recognized as president-elects. I cannot believe that it is this slow. I tested this earlier and it was much faster. I see that Bill Biddle came in. Welcome, Bill. And I think Bill Warren left, so maybe he can't hear, or maybe we're not giving him what he needs. We'll need to check with him. Let's see who else is on. We've got, well, Bill Warren looks like he's still there, and Gary Webb, but I can't tell if he can hear or not. Okay, do individual contributions, whoops, I had a, let's see if I can get this back. Gordon left a message, and I'll see if I can get it. Do individual contributors to Polio Plus count toward individuals Paul Harris Fellow? They are not on the bus. The individual contributions to Polio Plus are not on the bus, and I'll talk about that later. But it does count towards their Paul Harris Fellow, so yes and no. So here we are, and once we clicked Edit, we're at the Annual Fund at the top. So you've got everybody in your club on the bus. The first thing is Paul Harris Society. Those are people that have pledged $1,000 or more to the foundation every year. And in my club, we now have 3. So I'm going to put the number 3, and average amount of contribution is $1,000 because that's what a Paul Harris Society. Notice it totaled it for me. And now those 3 people are off the bus, and there's only 36 people left. Everybody else in my club is a sustaining member. They have all pledged. Everybody else, all 36 of them, have pledged to pay $100. So I'm going to put $100 in there, and that would be my total goal. But let's just talk about if your club is, and those guys get off the bus. And then you look to see if there's anybody left. And there be maybe 1 or 2 in your club that maybe just pay $10 or $25 a year, and that's where you would put those 2 people, and their average giving might be $15. And then any other contributions. And any other contributions might be fundraising, any kind of community gifts, and you would put those in here. But I'm going to take these out because that is not true for my club. And notice we haven't put anything about polio in here. So I am to the bottom, and I click Save. Now this is going to be painful because now it's going to have to save and go away, and come back. Then I'm going to go just below the annual fund to Polio Plus and to major donors. And it will take a while. But notice while it's sitting there that my club's goal for next year is $6,600. Now we often will get people that, like all those people that we looked at that are not Paul Harris Fellows, Ron will be talking to them and saying, so how much a quarter would you like to give in order to become a Paul Harris Fellow? And some of them will say $50, some of them will say I can do $100 a quarter, and that's where we make up more money. So we've finished this, and our goals are in here for 2015, and notice they're in there. And then we go to Polio Plus Fund and click Edit. Now all of a sudden we started going a little faster. We can cross our fingers. I'm not sure it will help. I did forget to put a 0 up here in every Rotarian every year and other contributions. So when we go back to the front page of my Rotary, it will show that my foundation goals are not yet finished because I have not put a 0. So if there are no people or no other contributions, you need to put that in there as a 0. Don't just leave it blank like I did. It will be okay, it won't affect your goals, but you'll wonder why your goal is not complete on the front page of my Rotary. Now you notice that this year we had some giving to Polio Plus, and what we recommend is that you take the number of members in your club and multiply that by $20. So we have 39 members in our club, so I'll say 40 times 20 would be $800, and take 20 away is $780. So my total goal for polio for next year is 780, and excuse my math if that's not correct. So I click on Save, and now I have a polio goal, and then we're not finished, so we now have to wait for it to go back up, and we'll look at, I believe it's major giving that is next. And major giving is $10,000 or more. When someone gives a gift of $10,000 or more, that's a major gift. If they bequest or leave $10,000 or more in their will or a life insurance policy, that is a major gift, but it's called a bequest, and they're a member of the Bequest Society. And the pins are slightly different. Bequest Society money always goes into the permanent fund or the endowment, and the money is never spent, just the interest, and the major donor money goes into the annual fund, so it benefits us in 3 years. Okay, so we've done our annual fund goals, and we've done polio fund, and here's major gifts and endowments. And if you have a question, you can click on the details, but Lord knows how long it would take to load. So I'm just going to click on Edit. Notice it has major gifts, Bequest Society, and benefactors. Now major gifts, I said, go to the annual funds of $10,000 or more. Bequest is $10,000 or more going into the endowment fund that's left in wills and such. And benefactors are those members in your club that have pledged to give $1,000 in their will. So these are just new, and let's see if I can remember. These guys, that has nothing to do with the bus, and I will send you an email on Sunday, but my recollection is you just put the number of new here, so I'm going to put that we expect one major donor. Our club president this year is going to give a major gift. We have no new Bequest Society, so put that 0 in, and we have 2 that have said that they would give next year, that's 15-16, they would put $1,000 in their will. And then we simply say save. Now, if I had put zeros up there in the annual fund, my goal would be complete. Now, I'm going to have to come back in after the webinar is over and take out these goals so that Rachel can put in her own goals. But this is pretty close to what my club will be doing I'm going to bring you all up and unmute you and see. Let's see if I can unmute you all. Okay. Are there any questions? I can hear some people in the back, so I hear Gordon. And are there any questions while I'm here? No questions? Sean, can you hear me? Sean's asleep. Gary? No questions. Okay, I'm going to stop the recording, and you're welcome at any time to send me your questions. Let me get out of here so that, let's see if I can get back out of Rotary Club Central. And I cannot. So I'm going to close. And now notice this is still for this year, so you won't be able to see. This is foundation giving goals for this year. And notice that we only have 88% set. I did the same thing last year, and so we didn't have zeros. But our foundation giving goals achieved is at 71%. So this is where you'd go to look. So I'm going to go ahead and click the stop record button, and thank you for your attendance, and I appreciate it.